Hey guys, welcome back to Starcastic Remarks alongside my brother Chris. My name is Ryan. We are the official Dallas Stars podcast of THPN. Please go and use that promo code THPN the next time you go and use DraftKings Sportsbook or Raycon. We appreciate them for being our sponsors of this episode of this podcast and all of THPN. Dallas go into the game 3 tonight against the Seattle Kraken in round 2 of the 2023 playoffs. And they lay a goose egg. They lose by a final score of 7-2, Christian. And I'll just be totally honest, and I really don't even care if people say anything about this, but I did not watch the third period. I absolutely did not watch the third period. It wasn't worth it. And the team gave me nothing at all in the second period to believe that there might have been some sort of comeback. So I didn't watch the third period, and that's probably the first time I've done all season. Chris,
Yeah.
What's your thoughts from this game?
Well, that was lame of you to do, first of all.
I agree, but I don't care.
That was the worst goaltending we've had in a single game the entire season. I mean, both netminders were terrible. You look in the second period, the Stars' expected goals in the second period was actually substantially higher than the Seattle Kraken's. The last 3 goals in the second period are awful. I mean, they have to be stopped. Especially the fifth one. I mean, what is the fourth and the fifth one? I'm going to say both of those are. Otter passes it to Tolvanen. He passed it with his blocker. So I don't know. It was total outplay by Grubauer as well. Grubauer was fantastic. Stars had a lot of chances to score, and they only scored twice tonight because of how good Grubauer was. But if you're going to get goaltending like that, you're not going to win any games. That was terrible. The Kraken scored 5 goals on 8 shots in the second period. Stars outshot them by more than twice as much.
And you want to tell everybody that expected goals stat that you texted the group chat, the family group chat?
Yeah, at least when did I send that? I don't know when I sent it, but I think it was at some point in the third period. The expected goals for the Seattle Kraken was 2.2. They actually had 6. That was before the 7th goal.
And this goes back to the fact that the Stars have not seen Ottinger play well at all this series, I would argue. He hasn't been very good. And the other thing that was obviously the turning point in the game, we've talked about turning points this playoffs in multiple different games. I mean, and this is my biggest takeaway from this team is, where is the freaking pushback here? I understand that Miro is your best player, and you can feel bad about yourselves that you lost your best player for the remainder of the game. But for goodness sake, somebody play freaking hockey. I swear. It wasn't just Ottinger. It was like, oh, we're going to feel bad for ourselves because we lost our best player. I mean, pick up your freaking pants and start playing hockey. This is the playoffs. This is probably your best chance to win the Stanley Cup in years. You have everything you need, and you're going to lay a goose egg like that? Crap in your pants because one player goes down? Again, I understand it's Miro Heiskanen. Who cares? You're in the playoffs in the second round against a team that you should beat. You have more skill. And nobody showed up. The defense was absolutely atrocious. Miller absolutely sucked tonight. Hakanpää on numerous occasions. Oh, congratulations, he got a goal. Big whoop. Just completely out of position multiple times. The fact that Ottinger can't save a beach ball tonight is frustrating. And then the other deal is we didn't have any kind of pushback. I mean, where was it? Have some pride. Golly, I'm hacked off. Sorry, but I mean, that's my biggest takeaway is the fact that the Stars didn't seem to care.
I'm going to disagree with that. I mean, the second period, the Stars had, how many shots did they have in the second period? It's 17 shots. They were trying to push back. I mean, you can't do anything when every single shot goes in. They scored on 4 out of 5 shots at one point in the second period. What are you supposed to do? You can't do anything at that point. If the goalie's not going to stop anything, there's no helping. He should have been pulled in the second period. We played a worse game in game one, and we should have won that game. So, I mean, I really just think we're going to chalk this up to goaltending. Otter's going to do what he does whenever he loses a game and gets pulled, and he's going to come back and play fantastic. But we said that last game too, that he loves playing on the road, and he totally didn't show up. So we could talk about whatever you want to on the team side. I just think when they have a goaltending performance that awful, there's not much you can take away.
Well, the other thing was special teams. The things that the Stars have been good in, like all season, in one game they just sucked. I mean, goaltending is something that we normally can rely upon, whether it was Wedgwood or Ottinger for the most part. Now, Ottinger obviously was the better of the two, but we could rely on both of them for getting at least, decent goaltending from Wedgwood and pretty good goaltending from Ottinger. We got neither one tonight. And then on the special teams side, just power play is non-existent. I mean, we had opportunities to where we could have scored goals, and we just didn't do it.
I mean, I'm going to disagree with that again. The first power play was fantastic. 4 shots on goal, all grade A chances. Grubauer just stood on his head. It was
Chris,
amazing.
It doesn't matter. Did they score? Tell me right now.
The game was already 5-1. It didn't matter if they scored
on any of their stuff.
It doesn't matter. The game was over because there was no goaltending.
In today's NHL, a 3-goal lead can very easily disappear.
It was a 5-goal lead.
Okay, but the Stars have done it before, and they do nothing with any of their opportunities. And then when you get a little bit of a smidgen of hope where it may look like, oh, the Stars can do something, then the power play ends, and then the other team gets a goal at the end of the second period. And then when it was at least a 3-goal lead, and then you have a power play to begin the third period, and not only is it killed off, but it's not only killed off, but they score a shorthanded goal on top of that.
Yeah, and that's just a terrible.
And not to mention just to put a dagger into the heart of the Stars fans, but they score a power play goal that the Kraken don't even go back to the bench for the fist bump line. It was ridiculous. So.
It's just hard for me to get any takeaways when you have 2 goaltenders that were sub 800 on save percentage. I think Otter was almost sub 700. Yeah, 706 save percentage for Otter tonight.
And that is now twice in 4 games that Ottinger has given up 4 or more goals. 3 games. 3 games. That's even worse. And he did it twice during the regular season where he gave up 4 goals in a period. And he did 5 tonight. So, I mean, I really don't know what else to talk about, Chris, because you're kind of right. It's just we didn't get any kind of performance out of Ottinger, like anything. He wasn't even below average. He was sucky, and there was no pushback from the team whatsoever. I know you're talking about it's hard to get takeaways from the rest of the team which you're partially right about. But they didn't score any goals. They scored 2, whoop-de-dang-do, and one of them was completely useless.
Yeah, we could talk about Jason Robertson. That dude was really bad tonight. I mean, it wasn't even just offensive zone. He wasn't noticeable. It was he couldn't play defense. He couldn't make a pass. Every time the puck came to him in the defensive zone, we were trying to break out. He made the wrong decision. You'd think after however many games he's played now, he would have figured something out in the playoffs. He's got to find some other way to play. And it just feels like he's just skating around right now. It's really not good at all.
And he had a couple of chances in the second period where he had a step and he could have made a shot and maybe get the Stars going. And again, nothing. So, and is he still stuck on 7 points?
I don't know.
I have no idea, to be honest with you, but again, it's just the 5-on-5 play, and it really is. Dallas didn't show up tonight, and I guess more specifically, Ottinger didn't show up tonight. And then when the game was already lost, or it was just 4-0, when you at least And like I know at one point it was like 3-0, 4-0, but there was still time in the game where they could have at least fought back and made it a game. That's all I was asking them to do. And they didn't even try to make it a game, Chris. I'm sorry. I know you're talking about the shots on goal and everything, but there was seriously no pushback from the Stars.
They got the Mason Marchment chance. They had a really good power play going, and the first shot on goal went in right after that. That's why I'm saying it doesn't matter, because we had the pushback. We pushed in the second period. Marchment scored. We got the power play. It was a great power play, and the first one goes in. The first shot. That's nothing. That's not a thing. So really the only takeaway for me tonight is that you can't lose more than one game at a time in the series. So it's still 2-1 in the series. We are right where we were last series as well. 3 pretty crappy games, I'd say, for the Stars. Game 2, we played very well, demolished them. Somehow this game we only scored 4 goals, but whatever. Game 3, just like in last series, we get destroyed, especially destroyed this time. The only difference here is the big storyline of Otter being very bad comes out of it, which is very scary. I think he'll bounce back from it. We always talk about his mental game. It's really going to get tested now. Let's see how strong that mental really is.
Miro not coming back for the third period, is that purely just the fact that it was a lost game and you're not going to take a chance with Miro getting hurt, or should we be worried about him and his status for game 4?
I am 90% sure that he will be back for game 4. He obviously got his face cut. He obviously had several stitches. I'm guessing they just don't want to risk him going back out there and reopening the wound somehow. Maybe they didn't have the right cage or whatever he needed to play. But we'll see him in game 4, probably wearing a big old bubble.
And for anyone that says that Jason Robertson is the most important Dallas Stars player on this team, or Jay Cottinger, look at what happened tonight and tell me that Miro Heiskanen is not the most important Dallas Star player on this roster.
Yeah.
I mean, they literally looked deflated as soon as he exited the game. I thought they were playing okay. I really did. I thought they were okay. I didn't feel like they were getting to their game as much as they were in game 2, but they just look completely and totally deflated. And this goes back to what we talked about with Joey from the Kraken pod, Chris, is that if Miro Heiskanen is not in the conversation for this series or for the rest of the playoffs, the Stars stand no chance against any team because of how many holes are in our defensive core. Just my opinion.
For sure. Yeah, I mean, we had every defenseman except for Heiskanen obviously had about 20 minutes tonight, which obviously you don't want that. So, and it showed some holes too. I mean, Harley looked really bad at some points, which he's looked really good the entire series.
There was that one pinch in the second period that led to a 2-on-1, and yeah.
Miller, obviously, we've already talked about him, but yeah, everyone looked especially bad whenever Heiskanen's not on the ice.
I really like Colin Miller's game sometimes. When he plays well, he plays well. And he's actually a huge deal for Dallas too when he can use that slap shot of his. I mean, it's enormous. But the fact is that when he's not on his game and he's a defensive liability, it's just really frustrating.
It kind of reminds me of what Harley was a few years ago. I mean, he'd make these crazy cool offensive plays, and then he'd make the dumbest pass you've ever seen in your entire life. So that's the way I look at it.
So let's think of DEFCON 0 here, Chris. Let's assume that Miro Heiskanen is not going to be able to play for game 4, and we're just all freaking out and we don't know what to do. I don't think there is a number 1 defenseman for this team at that point. What do you do with the defensive pairings?
Throw Hanley in there and see what happens. I mean, honestly, at that point, we're hoping that Otter steals game 4. That's the only chance you really have if Heiskanen is not in, to be honest. But I'm 90% sure he'll be back.
I hope you're right, because I mean, all the defensemen at some point looked really shaky tonight. Even Lindell and Essa has not had a good series. I mean, game 1, was, I mean, we talked about it extensively in game one with how bad he was with Hakanpah. He was okay in game two, didn't really notice anything, but still had some issues with the Kraken forecheck in the first period, and they were able to turn it around in the second and third and dominate it. But in the game tonight again, if Heiskanen is out, he's the one I'm looking at. He's got to step up. He has to step up, and he's got to be playing better than he has been, because he's been around this team longer than anybody. He gets paid like it. He gets $5.5 million. It's not Suter. It's not Hakanpää. It's not going to be Harley. Okay. I mean, and Miller is a fringe NHL defenseman right now in the playoffs with the way that he's playing. So he's going to have to step it up. I mean, there are numerous players that need to step it up on this team right now. I'm not even going to mention Ottinger in this sentence because he has stepped up in games. Where is Miro? Where is Jamie Benn?
Well, Miro was in the dressing room.
Sorry. Where is Esa Lindell? Sorry. Where is Esa Lindell? Where's Robertson? Where's Ben in all of this? They're just guys that we need to step up and have not stepped up. So that's kind of where I'm at, Chris.
Yep. To the bright side, this is exactly where we were. So hopefully we can turn around and win three in a row like we did last time. There's no reason that we can't. We saw in game 2, we have every capability to beat this team and beat them handily. And even
we have way more skill than this team.
Even in this game, their forecheck was probably their biggest asset. The first period, we were breaking out of their forecheck pretty easily. The only chances they got were from giveaways by our defensemen.
Right.
So that's not even an issue for us anymore. And that was our biggest issue game 1. And we figured it out. And that's not a problem anymore. And it just sucks to not even have a chance tonight. So we'll come back game 4. You just got to split it, get back to Dallas, get home ice back. We'll see what happens.
Was there anybody that looked good to you? Ardell saying that he thought Dadonov had a pretty good game tonight, which I agree. He looked pretty good.
I was going to say Dadonov. He was fantastic. He's looked fantastic all playoffs. I mean, he's the real Michael Raffl this year.
Last question, and then we'll talk about the elephant in the room, obviously, Chris. Do you take Pavelski and put him on the top line? I think I think you need to consider it.
Yeah, that's definitely something to consider now after a terrible loss like that. Just something to shake it up. I mean, you got to find something to get out of whatever tonight was.
I still don't think it's a coincidence that Robertson is not playing well, and he has yet to play even 5 shifts with Joe Pavelski this postseason. So
I hope so.
That's just what I think. So
I disagree, but I hope so.
I hope so too. Okay, and then kind of get into a tough topic here. There's not an easy way to discuss this. So around 3:40 p.m. yesterday, there was a very sad event that happened at the Allen Outlets Mall, and unfortunately 8 members of the human race lost their life to a very senseless act. And what Chris and I would like to do tonight is just to send out our prayers, our condolences to those who were affected, the members of the family that have to deal with the loss of life in their family. I can never understand the grief that some of these families have to go through. And while the rest of the world, the rest of the country kind of, for lack of a better term, gets over it and they continue on with their lives, there's a lot of these families that are not going to be able to do that, and they have to find some way to do it. So we just want to say we love y'all to those families that have lost family members, and our prayers are definitely with you this evening. We don't want to mention his name, but we do want to acknowledge that there actually was a member of the Farmersville community who was one of the 8 that was killed in the shooting yesterday. So, especially for us, this hits pretty close, like literally hits close to home. The gentleman who passed away, was, we knew him, but we weren't like super close to him or anything like that. But still, we just want to pray for that family, especially in our little Farmersville community. So, Chris, it's not a fun topic to talk about, but I still feel like we need to talk about it. Uh, what was your thoughts when you first heard about this, or what do you want to say on this topic, and then we'll kind of wrap it up for tonight.
Yep, nothing that you haven't said already. Just our prayers are with them, and we're saddened to hear it.
And we just seriously, I just don't know what else to say. We've got some problems in our society, unfortunately, and I would say that I would like to know that I think I have the solution to it, but I don't think anybody has the answers right now. So, but what we need to really focus on is those families and pray for them as they go through their grief. Anyways, guys, we appreciate y'all, and I know it's a hard way to end a podcast, but we do appreciate y'all listening to us. And as always, along with Chris, my name is Ryan. We'll catch you guys on the flip side. And we hope you guys have a good, fantastic morning, afternoon, evening. Whenever you guys are listening, please say a special prayer for the family members who lost a loved one recently with the Allen shooting. We love you guys, and we will see you guys again on Tuesday night for Game 4. See you guys later.